One, two, three, the lawn feed.
Welcome to another episode of the Lawn Feed Podcast. I am Chris from Opitz Mow Time, your host tonight, and also with me, as always, is Andrew from the Dad Bod Lawn and Vince with Rooted Lawn Co. What's up, fellas? Feels like it's been a little bit.
Welcome back to the podcast.
I know. It's been like a month. Let's see if I can
You didn't lose power
figure out how to do this thing. But yeah, welcome back, I guess. Good to see everyone. Thank you for joining us on another great episode. Last episode, we had a great conversation on what considerations to really go into this fall with between overseeding your lawn and a full renovation, and kind of tossing up between, hey, what's going to be best for you. We're really days, if not weeks, away from that timeline for a lot of folks, especially if you're up in the neck of the woods where we are in the northern states. So be sure to take a rewind there and listen back. But today we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk DIY kind of in general, which is super cool. We're DIYers by trade and I guess heart. But we have one of our good friends on the show, Ken Long. Welcome, Ken. Thanks, the Lawn Feed Podcast. Welcome. How are you, sir?
Good, man. Appreciate you guys having me. I know, Chris, you and I have we've been going back and forth on social media for a few years now, but this is actually the first time we've got to speak in person, which is cool. Yeah,
it's interesting how that stuff works, right?
Yeah,
it's finally have a live conversation, but we're pleased to have you. But we will get to Ken in just a second. Vince, we got some people to thank.
We do. We want to give a big shout out and thank you to our friends over at Twin City Seed for powering the season of the Lawn Feed Podcast, built on the reputation of superior service, accuracy, and sustainability with custom blending and packaging, high performance products, and a team of dedicated experts. Those guys are wizards. They know what they're doing. Twin City Seed is North America's leader in giving DIYers the highest quality of premium and elite grass seed for your next project. Save money on your fall projects today. You guys have a little bit of time left to be snagging that seed. Use code SUMMER10 for 10% off your order. On top of that, receive free shipping with the good old promo Free Ship 24. Twin City Seed proudly serves all of North America. So check them out, wwws, don't forget those, .twincityseed.com and www.twincityseed.ca for our Canadian folks. I think we have some of those Canadian folks on tonight.
Vince, that was a solid ad read right there.
Hey, thank you.
It's pretty good for him, actually.
It is. It's pretty good. It's one take. Yeah. One take. We did it live.
One take, good. Wonder.
Yeah, that was a solid ad read. Yeah.
So speaking of Canada, we are pleased to have this guest on, Ken Long, on the show with us tonight. You've seen his face all over social media, giving helpful DIY tips around the house, everything from household items like zip ties and hangers to make your life easier. Zip ties, baby. Big zip tie guys here. To appliance maintenance pointers, to outdoor DIY tips around the yard. He goes by the handle ken.c.long on socials. Welcome, Ken, to the podcast, Mr. DIY himself.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on. This is cool. I like, it's fun getting to chat with you guys, and it's obviously Chris and I have been following each other for a while, but it's you kind of you feel like you kind of know the person before you actually get to meet them, which is kind of the way, it's weird with social media like that. But yeah, it's great to be on here, guys. Appreciate it.
I think one of the funniest things is like you talk to people on social media and you see them on social media, even like a Zoom call like this or a podcast, and then you meet them in like person and you're like, wow, you're a lot taller. Wow, you're a lot shorter. It's like, I
didn't know you didn't have hair under that hat.
Yeah.
Vince, you sound a lot taller on radio.
Do I?
Yeah.
That's good.
You got a height for radio, my guy.
I'm about 6'1", so.
At least
I don't know what that is in meters, Ken. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a carpenter by trade. Everything's inches to me, inches and feet. I'm imperial. I couldn't tell you how to convert centimeters to inches. I'm all my tape measures are imperial.
Look at that.
So I'm with you guys.
Well, that's a good little intro to what we want to talk about next. You say you got a carpentry background. Why don't you tell us a little more about your backstory? What got you started in DIY stuff, and how were you here?
Sounded Amish.
Did I?
Are you
Carpentry
purposely
background
trying
there.
to do a Canadian A?
Yeah,
No.
what was
Eh?
going on there?
So my background, I initially went to school after high school for business. Did a year of business, general business, and then they did a year of computer science. Was just terribly bored. Didn't want to sit down for the rest of my life at a desk, so I decided I wanted to get into construction. So I got a carpentry apprenticeship, and I was doing that with a general contractor, and we did everything from building houses, additions, interior stuff. So it was really good because I got my hands into everything from the framing side of things all the way to the finished carpentry side of things. And it wasn't just the carpentry side of things. We did a lot of the odds and ends and stuff like that. So I was doing lots of painting and flooring and tile, and got to know sort of everything you need to do on the job site. And then it's a funny story, actually. We had I just finished my last session in Canada. There's 3 different sessions of schooling for like a Red Seal trade. And I already had all my hours, but I literally just finished my last session of schooling, and it was in 2008. And when we had the little economy collapse there, and myself and a guy that I had met in school, we both got laid off as soon as we came back from school. So we had a mutual friend. We were both working out at the same gym. We had a mutual friend that said, "Hey, my basement needs to be framed. You guys want to come and frame my basement?" And so we're like, "Yeah, sure." So we went and framed his basement, and it was like 1,800 square feet. It was a big basement. So we framed it up in a few days, and he's like, "Well, that was fast." He's like, "You want to keep going?" So we ended up finishing the whole basement for him. And then after that, we got another job and another job and another job. And so we ended up starting our own business through that, and ran that for 10 years. And it was a general contracting business, and we would do anything from small bathrooms we did a lot of like full home renovations, additions. So it was, once we got near the end, it was a lot more bigger projects where we would have, a smaller number of clients throughout the year, but we were doing, projects that were running for 3 to 4 months at a time. And that was, it was great. I learned so much doing it, but, it got to the point where it was just so exhausting, dealing with everything that goes into the business. And then, we would have, 10 to 12 jobs going at any given time. And, it got so much that, I needed that separation between work and home life, and I didn't have it. So it was time to make a change. And so we ended up sort of selling off the business, to part of it to one person, and then part of it to the tools and stuff to someone else. And I started a consulting business in construction. And then I started developing an app in construction as well. And in 2019, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a big golfer, and I compete in the World Long Drive as well. And
Big long drive guy.
yeah, so I was actually at my coach's place in North Carolina, and we had a mutual friend that was training there as well, and he was about 19 at the time. He was from Nevada, and he kept showing me all these videos on his phone. I'm like, "What platform is this?" He's like, "Oh, it's TikTok." I was like, "What the heck is TikTok?" And so I ended up downloading it on my phone. You get addicted. You just start swiping through videos. And then I get back home, and I'm like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." So I started posting some of my long drive videos on TikTok, and getting no views whatsoever. It was just like, okay, well, that was a waste of time. And then I was scrolling through, and I see someone talking about something with a tool. It was just like a tip with a tool, and I'm like, "Geez," I'm like, I got a bag load of these things. And so I posted a video about a tape measure, and it was showing. On the body of the tape measure, it has a number. So it'll say whatever, 3.25, 3 or 3.5. And that's the width of the body of the tape measure. So all I did was just show people that, you can measure, like, let's say you're measuring a window frame. You want that inside measurement instead of bending the tape, is that you can run the tape, the end of the tape on one side, and run the other one to the end. And whatever your number is, you just add the width of the body, and that's your exact measurement without having to bend the tape.
Mind blown.
And that thing got like 1.3 million views, and it just took. And I had like I don't know, 10 or 20,000 followers out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I got something here. And I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I was just had done no research on how to create a viral video or anything like that. And I was literally just taking this knowledge. And I think it was lucky for me. It was so early on with TikTok that there was a lot more demand than there was supply as far as content goes. So, I start posting more of these videos and they just keep going. And next thing you know, I mean, a couple months in and I had 50,000 followers. And then it was like, holy shit, I just hit 100,000 followers. And then it just kept going and going. And then I transferred it over to Instagram, but I did it for my business, my app that I had initially. And I grew that to about 15,000. And then I switched it back to my app so that we had a good following on the social media side of things. But it wasn't until January of 2022 that I actually started my own personal Instagram page. And so it's kind of crazy. It's
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's been about 2.5 years to get to 620,000. But the crazy,
just a casual 2.5 years,
dude.
It's all good.
The craziest part though is in the last 3 months, I've gained 225,000 followers.
Jeez. And if you haven't caught on, the content you are pushing out, it is so what's your niche? The content that's your bread and butter. So
it's all directed towards homeowners. And it could be anything to do with, a simple tip with a tool to, sort of a helpful life hack, appliance maintenance. It could be me building something. It's just, I'm trying to bring value to the average homeowner is kind of the idea.
It's cool.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot to, as most new homeowners can attest to, and we all can too. There's a lot to think about, and more importantly, a lot to forget and a lot to overcomplicate, which you do a nice job of reminding people that it's very simple, which we'll certainly dive into. We're excited to learn a little bit about you at a deeper level, what you do, and really what you have to offer, because you got some cool stuff coming down the pipeline, which we'll get to. But you're a dad, correct? Yeah. What do you got back home? How many kids?
I have 2. My son is 8. He'll be 9 at the end of the year, day after Christmas. So that's a busy couple days. And then my daughter just turned 6. So fun. 2.5 year gap between them. So it's pretty good.
That's right on. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, as you know, as an avid listener of the Lawn Feed podcast, we do this little segment called Dad's Wins and Losses, where we share really the highs and lows of being a parent, more specifically a father figure, because we're a bunch of dads and have no idea what we're doing. And when we have guests on, that's typically something that we like to pass the ball to, and we've heard a lot about our kids. We need to hear a little bit about your kids. So let's get into Dad's Wins and Losses. This segment is sponsored by WaySafe Trailer Hitches. WaySafe is the only trailer hitch on the market with built-in scales to measure tongue weight to ensure the safest towing experience possible for you and your entire family while towing. You can still use code TLF15 at checkout for 15% off your order at way-safe.com. Let's get into it.
A lawn feed tradition where we tap into who we are at heart. Dads! This is Dad's Wins and Losses, where we tap into our inner dad bod father figures and highlight some of the recent wins we've experienced as parents, and of course, vent about the embarrassing losses we take each and every day as dads.
I love you, Daddy.
So, Ken, you get the pleasure of sharing one recent dad win and one probably from the encyclopedia and laundry list of the dad losses. The floor is yours, brother.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, I mean, there's, they're daily, right? I mean, you have wins and losses on a daily basis. One that I will say, a win that I will say that happened very recently. So my son, I grew up playing, competitive sports. I played rep hockey, I played rep baseball, and I played competitive golf. And so, my son is very, very athletic, and he'll probably be a better athlete than I ever was or am. And he's just absolutely fallen in love with hockey and golf. And it's so cool to see. And the other day, or it was last night actually, So he has hockey training from 4 o'clock till 5 o'clock last night, and then he has his rep hockey team practice from 5:30 to 6:30. And so I take him there, and I coach his hockey team. So I'm on the ice with them as well. So
Cool.
he's on the ice from 4 to 5. Take his skates off. We drive to the next rink. Get him on the ice for 6. I'm on with him, and then they don't kick us
Wild.
off afterwards. So we're on the ice for like an hour and a half. And so he's literally gone 2.5 hours on the ice within 3 hours. And he gets home, and what's he want to do? He's like, "Can we go in the backyard and putt?" Because I got an artificial putting green in the backyard. And so he's out there literally still wearing like his undergear from like with his jock and everything, and like his long sleeve with his neck guard on
Razors on.
in the backyard at like 9 o'clock at night with me putting. And just doesn't want to go in. And it's like, it's so cool because I have that, I have like a little golf buddy now. And it's just
Sure.
so cool that I can take him to the course, and he's playing well enough now that he can play full courses, which is really cool. But yeah,
Wow.
that was really cool last. I actually posted it on my story. It was really neat because it's like, hey, this is what
Right.
you want, right?
Yeah.
You got a
for
little
sure.
buddy.
Yeah,
So,
you gotta cherish it till he doesn't want to do it with you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll go for an L here. Is I'm an early bird. I'm usually up quite early, and I usually get up and I'll come down and I'll work in the living room for a couple hours. I try and do it before the kids get up, and almost every single time I do it, as soon as I get downstairs, I open my laptop. I hear 4 feet coming down the stairs. Both my kids. It'd be 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:45 in the morning, and they're down there turning the TV on. And and then my wife will be sleeping for the next couple hours still. So I'm like trying to work and get them breakfast. So that's turned into like a daily occurrence now. So that'd be my L right there. My kids can't sleep in.
That morning time is precious.
Yeah.
Your kids sleep in, Vince?
Oh yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah, they sleep till about like 7:30. Lately, like 8 o'clock. So I got home from the gym at like
Damn.
7:15, and everyone's still sound asleep. And I'm like, all right, well, let's go make pancakes and film some content. And yeah,
Yeah. So that's
You
what
know,
I
just
used
a
to
normal
do.
Saturday
it's a
morning.
normal Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I used to do too, is like I would go to the gym really early. And I think I'm going to have to switch back to that because my mornings are not as productive anymore. So I think instead of going to the gym at the end of the day, it's going to have to start happening in the morning again.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
kids are a little bit younger, Vince, so I think maybe when
Yeah.
they catch up to ours, it's a little.
Yeah, I could see them eventually being early birds, but my wife's not an early bird, so if she doesn't wake them up, then they're used to sleeping in. So
My
How
see.
wife might actually be able to sleep in all day.
yeah, I don't
Literally could
understand
stay in the one spot in the bed.
I could
could-
if I was
can't
allowed
do
to.
it.
How old
I
are
don't know
your
if I
kids,
could do
guys?
that.
And Andrew,
My daughter is 6.5. My son will be 4 next month.
Nice.
Yeah.
5 and 7 here,
Yeah.
both boys.
I have twin 3.5-year-olds, and I have a 2.5-month-year-old boy.
No wonder you're tired.
Yeah, yeah, we're in the trenches right now. So
Yeah.
In the thick of it.
Got a new background in your studio?
Yeah,
Just-
we had old Debbie,
Why not?
Hurricane Debbie came up through us. I was like, I'm going to take this time of being inside and throw that up. So
Isn't that crazy?
Well done.
Hurricanes hit Pennsylvania. Or they kind of like they hit like that's mind blowing to me.
yep,
It's like
come
the
right up,
hangover of the
right up.
hurricane.
Yeah, seriously.
Well-
So did you get any of that, Ken? Do you have to
No.
deal with any of that stuff? No,
No.
nothing. All
No,
right.
not at all.
Well,
You don't get any of the rain. I guess you're still.
I mean,
a
we
little
got some of the
too
some of the
west.
rain,
Yeah.
but that was about it.
yeah.
yeah, that's just
That's welcome
great at
these
that
days.
point. Right? Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding. No
yeah,
kidding.
absolutely. My lawn
So-
could use some of that.
Yeah, we got about 5 inches, and it's great. But now it's back to like 80s
Right.
and hot and humid and dry, and it's like
Space it out a little bit. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
maybe like
Yeah.
once a week, half-inch. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So
Just not bad.
Not asking for much.
word on the street is that you have something exciting to share with your listeners. So what you got?
Yeah, so it's something I've been working on for a while. It was, the idea kind of came to me from a lot of DMs and emails I was getting from my followers, and it was all about questions about things around the house and how do I do this, how do I do that. Messages about like, oh, I wish I could do this, but I don't feel comfortable using this tool. So I decided to create an online course for the average homeowner to help them become more handy. And it's called the Handy
Nice.
Homeowner. And it's going to be a 12 module online course. So you sign up, you have lifetime access to it, and you'll be able to go through and watch all the videos. The first module will be launching next month. I'm filming next week, and it's going to be all on hand tools. And so basically, I wanted to start right at the beginning and teach people how to properly use hand tools, educate them on what they are, what they do, some sort of tips and tricks of stuff I've learned over the years, just being in construction, of like ways to use them that makes your life a little bit easier. And then the second module is going to be all on power tools. And it's going to be teaching people. A lot of people have, people have fears of power tools. I think you either get it one way or the other. People either have a fear of power tools, or they feel like, oh, I can use this, but they have no clue what they're doing and they're not using it safely. And I mean, when you're using a circular saw, I mean, you can change your life by cutting your fingers off. I mean, I've literally seen people do it. And, so what I wanted to do was teach people how to properly and safely use these power tools so that they can use them to their advantage. And instead of feeling, overwhelmed by it, it's like, hey, now you know how to use this tool. And when you need to fix something around your house or build something, if you want to take on a DIY project, you now know how to use this tool. So from there, it's going to get into, there's going to be everything to do with home maintenance. That's a big thing, is people neglect home maintenance around their house, whether that's, their roof, or, just doing regular inspections of their foundation, make sure that there's no cracks, make sure that there's no water coming in, their plumbing. And one of the big ones is going to be appliances, because not many people really properly maintain their appliances. And then they wonder why they don't last as long as they should, and why they have to replace them quickly, or they have to call people in.
Wait,
to fix
you
them
got
all
to
the
take
time.
care of your shit?
Yeah, apparently.
That's mind blowing. Wow, that's crazy. All right.
So-
News to me.
So it's going to be, I'm trying to just bring as much value to people as possible, but the idea is to hit people that, I want to be able to target the people that they literally have no clue. They feel like, I'm not a handy person and I cannot do anything around the house. And I want to transform them into the person that their brother is now calling for advice, because they know what they're talking about. But I also want to be able to touch on the people that are, they might feel like they are somewhat handy, but there's aspects of it that they just don't know. They've never been educated on. So I'm trying to bring as much value as possible to my followers, and and try and turn more people into handy homeowners.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like for some, it's like a one-stop shop too, right? Which
Yeah.
I would assume is the intention there, and like you said, derived from probably getting blown up in your DMs on the same question over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. So you might have said this, but where can people find that?
So it's handyhomeowner.diy. The link's on my social media channels as well, but it's handyhomeowner.diy. There's a pre-launch that's on right now, and you can get the full course for $99. And then it's going to drip out module by module. And that's kind of where I'm looking. I don't want to gouge people. I want to make it super affordable. Obviously I have to get paid for my time that I'm putting into it, but I want to make it super affordable for people. One of the things that I wanted to sort of base it around is, the average service call for a home repair technician is $250. That's across North America. And obviously certain things are going to be lower, certain things might be a little bit higher, but the average is about $250. So right now you could literally go purchase the course for $99, and I can guarantee you it's going to save you thousands of dollars, over even just the next 10 years.
Yeah. You told me $99, and I said that's cheap as hell. With how many tips you're throwing out there on like your socials, and then the course on top of it, that's sweet.
Yeah.
And the first one is sawzalls and chainsaws, hand tools. So
Yeah.
beginner's course, table saw. Ready?
Like a lot of people,
flamethrowers is level 2.
Yeah.
a lot of people will create guides, and I like the fact that like this has videos because not everybody likes to read, and like you can explain so much when you're on video and showing people exactly a proper way to do something. You can't explain that through text.
Yeah.
You just
Right.
can't. So it's almost like a structured YouTube course, what it sounds like. Is that right?
That's exactly what it is. And the idea of it is because there's, the modules are all separated, but each individual lesson is also separated. So I know there's going to be lots of people that are going to go, well, I know how to use this. I don't really need to watch that video. So each individual tool, there's 17 hand tools that are going to be in the first module, and they're all separated into individual lessons so that you don't necessarily have to go through each one of them. You can pick and choose the ones that you want, but yeah, that's the idea, is that everything is in one place and you don't have to worry about, scouring the internet to try and find each individual piece of information.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
And then
Like you
after,
go ahead, Vince.
So there's 12 modules, right?
Yeah.
So like after they finish those modules, you finish the 12, do you have like a big graduation ceremony where they have to like build a house then or something?
Not a graduation ceremony, but they do get, they are going to get a certificate saying that they are now a certified handy homeowner.
That's awesome.
And they're going to get a handy homeowner hat as well.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Is there any quizzes, tests, anything like that, like at the end of each module? Or
You know what?
At the end of...
I don't think I'm going to do it for every module, but there are a few modules that I've been looking at doing some quizzes at the end for sure. I think the tool modules would be great to have quizzes. Some of the modules may not be right to have a quiz, but especially the tool ones, I think those are very important. Even like
you got to get that 80% pass though. Otherwise, you're screwed. You got to go all the way back to the
Back
beginning.
to Fisher Price plastic tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's one of those things is people don't realize, how you have to respect the tools. And you guys know this, dealing with your lawns, if you don't respect the tools, they won't respect you. And as an apprentice, I think I was a second year apprentice, and I don't think I fully respected the tools. I felt very comfortable and probably a little cocky, with my tool skills. And it wasn't until I was waiting to use a table saw. We were finishing trimming out a set of stairs that we built, and I was waiting to use the table saw. And there was a guy that I was working with, and he was a 30-year red seal carpenter. And he was in front of me using the table saw, and he was just ripping down this little tiny piece of molding, and it hit a knot. It kicked on him, and saw went right through his finger, his index finger, and then he turned his hand, and it went right down the middle of his thumb. And it wasn't until that moment that I fully respected the tools, where it was like, okay, these things can change your life.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we had to find his finger in the sawdust underneath.
I was about to say, where'd the finger go?
Yeah, we
some water,
we
put it
dug
on
it out
ice.
from the sawdust and got it on ice. And
Jeez.
Is said finger back on said human being?
no,
That's gone, right?
no.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I was like,
well,
there's
you got to
no way.
think the width. This was the explanation that he got from the doctor too. Was we can put this thing back on, but you have to realize it's going to be 1/8 of an inch shorter, because that's the width of the table saw blade. So it's literally taken out 1/8 of an inch of it. And
That's
now,
hilarious.
so it's going to be shorter. And he goes, it's just going to end up getting in the way.
I would not have even thought about that part. That's
Jeez.
funny.
So which module has the pipe stretchers in it?
That's going to be the bonus module, Vince.
Nice.
Yeah, he's in for the potato launcher.
Yeah, you got to.
You want a
pay-
T-shirt?
You got to pay
gotta
extra.
take this
That's
one.
the upsell. That's the upsell. The bonus module is extra.
So
And you still get a hat.
when I did construction, there was a kid in our class. I worked at the plumbing outfit that I worked at, and they would take on high schoolers and stuff. And at the job site, they sent him out and told him to go get the red handled pipe stretchers. So he went out and he looked tore the van apart. He's like, I couldn't find him. He's like, no, they're there. Went back in, tore the van apart again. He's like, no, he's not. He's like, oh, you know what? I returned them. So then he made him go back to the shop, go to the shop manager, ask him for him. He's like, oh no. He goes, what's his name? Signed him out. Go check him. And it went on for like 4 or 5 days. This poor guy, all for these pipe stretchers. And eventually he found out that
it's like blinker fluid for your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's I mean the stuff that
so many stories.
Well, yeah, and I mean the stuff that I had done to me as an apprentice, and the stuff that I did to other people when they were apprentices. I mean, you can just mess with them so easily. It's so much fun.
Nowadays, you get canceled for that shit.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
hazy
absolutely.
or something.
Careful.
Yeah.
It's all good. So, okay, I've got a question since you've got an entire course, memorized. We're running around with like chickens with our heads cut off, like back to school, fall sports, like all of that stuff. Change of seasons. Like, I mean, what should people be focused on right now heading into fall?
So I'm actually going to be putting out. You've probably seen, but I've put out some free downloads for people that are home checklists. I did a spring home checklist. I also have a home appliance maintenance checklist as well. So all the stuff that you need to be doing to maintain your appliances. And then I'm going to have a fall checklist coming out as well. So, there's definitely a few things that are going to be, there's similarities between the spring checklist and the fall checklist, but they're also very important, right? And that goes from, anything super simple to, checking the battery, changing the batteries in your smoke detector, inspecting your roof, inspecting your foundation, making sure that, once the weather gets cold enough, it's getting your outside hose bibs turned off. So a little bit of everything. I don't want to give it all away because I do have a free download coming out to everyone soon. But there's lots of stuff that you want to make sure that you're doing before the cold weather hits, if we get any cold weather.
Right. Yeah, it's coming somewhere. Andrew, you know a lot about hose bibs.
Big hose bib guy.
Big hose bib guy.
Yeah. Hose bib and
Andrew and I
pipe stretcher.
both had like videos go off on like our early years. One of mine was for zip ties, and I got called a dolphin killer. And Andrews went like, okay, cool, environmentalist, I get it, but that was funny. That was like that belongs on like the wall, dolphin killer somewhere.
Yeah, you should.
And then
you should have
Andrews
that.
was like a hose bib thing.
You and I did like a hose bib thing at the same time. I can't remember if I stitched one of your videos and like I saw you do it, so I went and did it. Yeah, it was something like that.
Back when we literally had no clue what we were doing.
Yeah, so that's
who stitches my videos all the time is What No Way.
I
Really?
don't know if I know who that is.
What?
No way.
No way.
That guy? Yeah.
Oh,
He's great.
that guy.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Him and I message back and forth all the time.
Well, you're
too,
like a perfect account for that. He probably just like
Yeah.
sees your videos and goes, "Oh shoot, I gotta stitch this guy again because I've already done 10 this month." But if you're creating content that is like so mind blowing that he keeps doing it, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he seems like, I mean, I've only messaged with him on TikTok and Instagram, but he seems like a really good guy. Him and that 40-year-old, that 40-year-old dude or 40-year-old guy, he's really funny too. He's done some of mine and we've messaged back and forth as well. He seems like a really good guy too.
Yeah, those are two accounts that I love because like, because you learn indirectly. And then there's some comedy involved, So
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
personalities are half of it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
You guys had what was his name from Pete? Was it Pete
Denny?
from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pete Denny.
GCI. Yeah.
And I was listening to that episode, and he sounds exactly like my long drive coach, like identical. And
he's from North Carolina.
I know.
I was listening.
I was listening to it, and I'm like, this guy has to be from North Carolina. So I go on his Instagram, and it's like North Carolina. I was like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he sounds identical to him.
When you were talking about
twang of all time.
Yeah.
When you're talking about having a long drive coach from North Carolina, I was like, watch him be like, Pete Denny was my long drive coach. Like, hey, Pete did that too.
Pete's got a nice golf swing. He's been posting some golf content recently.
He did
I
a
saw
long
that.
drive. He's a
he did long drive?
champion. Yeah.
Oh, I just thought he was a decent golfer.
Yes. Yeah,
No way.
What? No,
No
way.
pun intended.
What?
But
No way.
Get out of town.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
does
know
long
about this
drive.
till I was 40.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
there's
Do you
long
know?
drive.
Do you know where he is in South Carolina? Or sorry, North Carolina.
Greensville.
So, what made you stop the long drive stuff? You just get too busy, or just kind of fizzled out? How'd that play out?
I mean, I was, I had every intention of competing again this year. I actually had a really good off season, and unfortunately, they were making some changes to how they were structuring events, and it's just a little unfortunate how things are kind of playing out right now. And yeah, so I decided to take the year off. I had a lot going on as well. That was the main source of my income for the last couple of years has been long drive.
Well, how long are you driving?
Yeah, what's your longest drive in tournament play, or I guess any?
So my
requirement?
longest driving competition is 445.
Holy shit.
I went 445 last year. My longest ball I've ever hit, it was at a charity. So I used to do a lot of charity and corporate outings where I would go out and entertain for the day. And my longest ball I've ever hit that I've measured is 460.
God.
Chris used to entertain for the day.
I hit a 290 today, and I'm
Still
like,
do
that was a
occasionally.
bomb.
No golf clubs involved. 460,
Zero.
dude. That's
Jeez.
there's par fives around here that play 460.
Yeah,
I'm
like-
not the one with the penis putter, Andrew.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
given to me. It
wow.
was a gift.
It doesn't matter.
Taking
You
it with me.
accepted it. You
It's an
accepted
award.
All right. So Ken, I've got a question.
Yeah.
So your long drive is impeccable.
Thank you.
How's your short game?
Is
Is it shit or is it good?
funny enough, it's the best part of my game.
He's got a putting green in his backyard.
Yeah, no, I work a lot on my short game. It is probably the best part of my game. And if anything, the driver just gets me in trouble on the course because when we're competing, I mean, the equipment we're using is very different than what you would use on a golf course. I mean, all of our stuff has to meet USGA regulations. So 48 inches is the max we can use. But I mean, I'm usually hitting a 2.5 degree driver. So I mean, it's the same or less loft than a putter, and a very, very soft and whippy shaft. So there's a ton of timing
Whippy
involved. Whippy shafts.
Whippersnapper.
And then so the trouble is going from that and then trying to go back to a play driver on the course that's at 7.5 degrees and has a
insane.
double X stiff shaft in it. So it's it's definitely a challenge, and that's the problem is my brain and body are so wired to go fast that it's hard to dial it back on the course and just try and be consistent because it's just it's muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
Now you're hitting 400, 450 in competition with that equipment. What are you hitting with a standard driver on the course if you're playing 18? Like, what's your average distance off the tee?
Probably be about, I mean, depending on conditions. So that's the thing is conditions play such a huge factor in how far the ball's going to go.
No wind.
Yeah,
nothing.
you have the same guys going out using all the same golf ball in the same conditions. I mean, we had an event 2 years ago that the wind was dead in the face. It was raining and it'd been raining for like 3 days. So the ground was super soft and like 320 would be winning sets. Right. And then,
Insane.
and then you go to another event where the wind's a little bit down, you have a firmer fairway and everyone's going 430, 440. Right. So it's all relative. Like on the course, I would say, an average drive would probably be in that 340 to 350 range. But it's not
insane.
always,
I'm sorry.
it's not always helpful, right? Like, cause the
No.
further you hit the ball,
It's further into the woods.
exactly. It's the dispersion, right? So, I mean, if you take two straight lines, right? And, you have somebody that has let's say their face open, 2 degrees and that ball's still in the fairway. That ball's still in play, right? But if I hit that ball 360 yards on that same line, it's way out of bounds now, right? So hitting the ball long is great, but there's also a lot of downfall to it because the further you hit the ball, the wider your dispersion is going to get.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you hit him today, Vince?
Actually, not too bad. It was a short game that I duffed up a good bit. I can't.
You were
get
still
over the
340
3 putts.
though off the tee.
Yeah.
320.
320. Yeah, it's good.
Wind
Yeah,
conditions is conditions like you talked about. Yeah.
No, I'm saying I hit a 290 today. I'm like, that was a freaking bomb. And this guy comes on and says, "Oh, I hit 420." No, that's awesome. Well, golf and grass kind of go hand in hand,
they do.
right? So when we're a grass podcast, so we got to talk about a little bit of grass. So you have a lawn and you do some stuff. I saw some striping videos and stuff of your lawn.
Small lawn. Yeah.
Small lawn guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your
patch.
favorite? Just a patch. What's your favorite and least favorite part of lawn care?
I would say my least favorite part is I don't have irrigation. I can't justify putting it in because my lawn is so small. So probably watering is like finding the time to water and keep the grass hydrated. That would probably be my least favorite part. Favorite part is definitely striping the lawn. And I mean, I'm using, everything I do is always around like DIY stuff. So, I mean, I don't have a big lawn. I have a, fairly basic mower. The striper that I have is one that I built and, which has got just a ridiculous amount of views on social media.
It's a popular one.
Yeah. And, I love striping the lawn. Like afterwards, I mean, I get the neighbors that walk by, and I'm sure you guys get this too. You get the neighbors that walk by and they're like, "Oh, your lawn looks so good." And then you can see their husbands. They're just like, "This asshole."
Yeah. That's all part of it, though, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it is just because we enjoy it, not because we're trying to showboat our way around the neighborhood, But
Absolutely. Well, my favorite is the comments on social media. Is like, I've reposted that lawn striping video a few times, like, with me building the lawn striper. And the amount of comments I get on there from people they're like, "Why would you want stripes in your lawn? It's the stupidest thing ever." I was like, "Why wouldn't you?" And I'll reply to people and be like, "Have you ever seen a baseball diamond?" Like, go look at any park in the MLB. Like, it looks unreal because there's stripes.
Yep. Yep.
Now you got tons of DIY tips for like around the house and stuff like that. Do you have anything for the lawn that you can share with us besides your DIY striper, which is obviously awesome?
I've done a few. I actually had a question for you guys. So one of the issues that, I have in Canada is that we don't have access to a lot of products, right? Like the regulations that we have here, we can't use pesticides and there's a lot of stuff. And I'm kind of on the verge. I listened to your last episode there talking about the, whether you do a full reno, on the lawn. And I was like, I don't know what to do with mine right now, 'cause I have so much clover in my lawn. It's not white clover, and we don't have anything here that can get rid of it. Like just with the laws that we have. And, so I was trying to decide whether it's to the point where I should, look at doing an overhaul on it this fall.
The answer is yes.
You're on the wrong podcast for a no answer.
Wait, a small lawn? Yeah, nuke it.
Both my neighbors have now killed their lawn as of 24 hours ago. So,
No way.
Yeah.
So
is Roundup allowed there?
I was about to say,
Yes,
I'm
we
going to
have
throw a
Roundup.
question right back to you. What do you have? Because this is a common question that we always get of like, because like here we have access to, and it's not going to last forever. This is going in the direction of we'll probably be on the same level playing field here soon, but like certain products for certain weeds, and we kind of match those up and make sure that everything is good. Same thing for funguses, and same thing for insects and pests and all of those different things. But like what? So we're talking weeds. Like what commonly do homeowners turn to over there? I've heard of Par 3, I've heard of Kill-X, I've heard of all of those things, but a lot of that is on the commercial trade, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for us, we do have Roundup here, but I believe it's a slightly different formula than what you guys get. I think everything pretty much is like anything that we get, whether that's like a Weed Be Gone or a Roundup, like everything is a different formula than what you guys would get in the US. So there really isn't a ton of options with the regulations that we have, and that's kind of the issue.
Do the professionals have access to other stuff, or are they limited as well?
No, I believe there's like golf courses and stuff. They have access to some
But like
other
lawn
products.
care companies, you can't hire a company to come and spray a product that you don't have access to.
You know what? I'm as
He's
you
a
know, I'm a
DIYer.
DIY guy. I'm not a big like bring someone in guy. So
No, I'm just curious.
I've actually
though,
never gone down that road.
I'm just
Dude,
curious
well, so-
if that's an option for people. You know?
No, it's a great question, and I honestly don't know what we have the big one around here. I don't know if it's in the U.S. as well. Would be Weed Man.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
That's the other one.
yeah, that would be the big company around here that would do a lot of like lawn spraying, and I honestly don't know what they have access to.
You
I mean,
just use vinegar.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can. I was about to say you can do a lot of that home, the homemade,
Yeah.
method.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Part of me does kind of want to just, like Andrew said, just nuke the lawn and just start over.
Well, and that's how you control it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you really, really wanted to, it's you do that once and
Yeah,
you do it right the first time, and that way But like if you don't care about that quote unquote slow burn and don't want to kill your lawn up, I mean, the truth be told is a lot of the problems with weeds is because you're allowing bare spots to come on in, and the weeds will just overtake that. And honestly, an unbiased opinion here is just with proper cultural practices, mowing, fertilizing, water of how you can and should do it, just like you were talking about home checklists and things like that, how we do that in the lawn. But then also that involves properly overseeding with the right type of grass that is right for your environment that should be in your lawn in the first place, and then knowing how to care for that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It is really like if you truly, because there's a lot of people out there who call me a dolphin killer who don't want to use any of that stuff. And that's how you do it. It's just we can still have nice lawns without using any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the same people who also call us dolphin killers will also turn around and say clover isn't all that bad. Because it's not. It's actually free nitrogen, and it's not a weed. It's just it's there. But a lot of people think that's unattractive for good reason, because it is. But that's there. You know what I mean? So
I love how Chris just like lumped you guys in with him as a dolphin killer.
yeah.
We stick together.
We're the
Yeah.
best friends that anybody could have.
If one of us throws like the 6-pack rings in the garbage and doesn't cut them first, or, you're turtle killers, and now we're all turtle killers.
Oh yeah,
This is how we roll.
It's the best part of social media is the comments.
Speaking of zip ties and being a dolphin killer, you guys, I planted 8 more Carl Foresters in my lawn today.
Carl,
good to see you.
I can't wait to see that. I'm assuming you turned the camera on at some point, so I'm sure we'll see something.
Something. So
Nice.
But yeah, I mean that's the route I would go, Ken. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, you've got a couple options, but yeah, that's a common question I get in my DMs is Canada, what can we do?
Yeah.
We don't have access to a lot of the same stuff you guys
And those
do,
are tough questions where it's like
is.
they're asking for different routes. I don't want to use this, and I don't want to use that. It's like, well, I've never taken that route. It's hard to give advice. So
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, how big is your lawn? How many square feet is your lawn?
It's only like 6. Well, it's smaller now. I just tore up like
I saw that.
quarter of it. 66,000, 5,500 now.
Yeah.
It's not that big.
some days I wish I had a lawn that size.
How big's yours, Andrew? Well,
That's not that big.
weird.
I know. I have 12,000.
Only
Sometimes I
one
wish I
glass
had
of
a little
wine
bit
in,
smaller.
and I'm asking how big it is.
You want to go the other way.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, 12,000 is not bad, but when it comes to like really having a nice manicured lawn, it would be nice just to focus on a smaller area.
You just want to pick up less dog poop in a concentrated area.
Yeah, I just need less dogs, I think, at this point.
Bingo.
Yeah,
You have
see
dogs
that?
you have a good dog, right, Ken? Do you have a dog
Yeah.
issues with your
Yeah, I got a
grass?
chocolate lab. Not anymore because I put turf in my backyard.
So you only have
Always
front yard
there.
grass? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I only have front yard grass. Yeah, my dog was just destroying it, and it's a small backyard anyway. So a couple years ago, I decided to rip it all out and put a putting green in, which is probably the best decision I've ever made because it's gives my son and I a spot to putt and chip and hang out, and my daughter's always out there doing cartwheels and stuff on it, and yeah, so it's great. I love it.
Nice.
But I do wish my front yard was a little bigger. It's unfortunately, the cost of housing in this area is just insane.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Welcome to the club. So
What's the housing market like where you guys are? Like as far as
Not
Well,
good, Bob. Not good.
it's an
Bob.
election year, Ken,
yeah, oh, I
and it's
realize
insane.
that. It's just
Oh,
entertainment.
you heard about
for
it?
us. Yeah, it's just. I mean, we look forward to the entertainment.
It goes on for a long time.
Oh, it's a clown. It's a circus. That's for sure.
It's like the Olympics every 4 years. It's just the spectacle of the U.S. elections for the rest of the world.
Yeah, no, the
Thank
Canadians
God
just
for
look
the
forward
Olympics.
to it.
The Olympics kind of gives you a little break, like right before the election.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sanity break.
Yeah,
Yeah. The housing market, since it's gonna be insane.
yeah,
We're like, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't know how all of this stuff works, but like, I'm assuming the global economy
yeah,
is roughly on the same wavelength.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't know if housing is involved with that, but
yeah, I was just curious, like
depends.
housing costs and stuff for where you guys live and stuff. Like, I mean, for us, I mean, a 1,500 square foot house with a really small lot. I mean, you're 1.2, 1.3 million.
Oh.
Okay,
Whoa.
not that bad, but
Well,
Yeah,
you're
that's-
so
and
close.
that's-
I mean,
and
you're
that's now.
so close to Toronto, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're still
Still.
far enough away, but it's the
That's
housing
like
market
New-
is still crazy.
I mean, that's. I might be completely naive to this. I would compare that to something like New York City.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably not quite as bad, but yeah, it's and I mean, a couple years ago when the housing market was just booming around here, I mean, that same house was going for 1.6, 1.7. I had a buddy that sold a house. It was a 3-bedroom house. He sold for $2 million.
I mean, you have those here. I mean, it just
Yeah.
depends on the town you're in. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But like in the towns we're in, not even close.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're kind of far from big cities, far enough away that, that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Not even close. So
We're
I mean,
all
it's all
looking at buying acreage here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I would like to do is move a little further north and get some property.
Would you stay in the same province or no?
Oh, that depends on our election.
Yeah, well, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, I mean Ontario's honestly becoming unaffordable for the average person. Prices of everything have just gone so high, and I know it's going up everywhere.
Seems like
but,
it.
I know a lot of people that have moved out of province, and they're living a much happier, healthier life financially
Off
now.
the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, it's something to consider. I mean, selfishly, that's what we want to do, and all of our content's in the outdoors. So obviously, that's kind of the goal. But yeah, no, I think it depends on where you're at, but it's it's gonna be a little roller coaster here. I think.
Yeah.
See what
absolutely.
happens, but well, cool. I want to give folks another chance to hear where they can find you, Ken. You've given a ton of good information at a high level of what you provide and the tools and resources to do it. But I want people to come find you. Just your handle, website, the title of your course, all that stuff.
Yeah, so TikTok and Instagram, you can find me at ken.c.long. YouTube is Ken C. Long DIY. And the Handy Homeowner is www.handyhomeowner.diy.
.diy.
Yeah, I
Neat.
thought
That's
I'd
good.
steal that one up because it just
Yeah.
fits so perfectly.
And real quick,
It is.
do you have an account for your long drive content as well?
I do. It's at Ken Long Drive.
And
I
it's
like
not
that.
long like the Lawn Feed podcast. It's long like in length.
Long.
Like his last name.
Well,
Yeah, like his
the best part is, I mean, I used to do a lot of charity and corporate outings, and you got 150 people coming through every day, and they see
know
my
where this is
my
going.
golf bag sitting there, and it says Ken Long on it,
Like,
and
what's your last name though?
and yeah, that's what they're like. Is that your real last name, or did you change it for this? And my answer
That.
just became always the same, and it was
Changed it.
either this or porn, and I wasn't equipped for porn.
I tried it.
That
Couldn't
makes
hack
four
it.
of us. That makes four of us. That's why we're on Instagram doing DIY stuff, right?
Ken, long drive.
Yeah. You can do
Very fitting.
long something. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Well, cool. Ken, thank you so much for joining us. It's been, I think, overdue. We've been chatting back and forth for a while, and hopefully this isn't the last time. We got a whole bunch of cool stuff going back and forth. So thanks again, Ken, for joining us. And go follow Ken. He's got a lot of good stuff, and go check out his course for his pre-sale and all that fun stuff. So before we wrap, we got a whole bunch of cool stuff on our stuff on our site as well. It's thelawnfeed.com. That's www.thelawnfeed.com. Can't forget the www to check out some amazing lawn gear on our side to elevate your lawn shirts, sweatshirts, and much more. Got a lot of sweatshirts for the fall season. It's cool mornings, cool evenings. It's the best. And we can give you a nice little promo code. It's Brad15, 15% off your entire order. Go check that out. A lot of cool stuff on there to prep yourself up for fall renos, the off season, and everything else. But on behalf of the entire Lawn Feed crew, thank you again for joining us on another great episode. Stay safe out there, and good luck in this week's venture of parenthood. And we will catch you on the next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Later.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.